Lawam, Kahallah Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives to do so. To the scattered, hopeful elect across the four corners of the earth, and those among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations, pursuant to Jeremiah 12 and 9, known as the speckled birds. So this is not a black thing. I am the disciple of Parium, a follower of Great Millstone, coming to you with a lesson in truth and sincerity. Now this guy you see on the bottom of the screen is known by his moniker, Dwayne the Preacher. It's like Dwayne Preached the Word on TikTok. Also Dwayne Bradford, or Dwayne Bradford. And, you know, he has these little questions that he does. And this is really more for edification's sake, because I don't want to make my whole, as far as, the ministry going over just debunking these people. Because really there's no edification in that. Edification comes from scriptures. Okay. And really his whole thing, ever since he found out about the Hebrew Israelites, it's just, attacking. And, with little, he's got the unction, I'll tell you that. But, he's not really going into the words, meaning of words, so forth. All right. So, he's talking about the Gentiles. Well, I'm going to break down the Gentiles in the Old Testament and also within the New Testament. And, I pray that it's edifying. So, first, I'm going to start off in Genesis 10 and 5, where you first see the word Gentiles. And this is after, you have the descendants of Noah, but then you have the descendants of Japheth. So when you get that word Gentile, it's Strong's H 1471, and is Gawaya, all right, Gawaya, nation, people, usually of non-Hebrew people, right? All right, so that's Yiddish, right? It says Goyim. That's the Yiddish form of Hebrew. Just it means other nations. Okay. Now, in the New Testament, you're gonna have the word, several words. You have ethnos, you have Helen, and you have Hellenistes. All right. But all these are all pertaining to Israelite foreigners. Okay, so when you get ethnos, which is basically Strong's G 1484, and I believe it talks about it in the book of Romans chapter 9. Let's see, 24. It's like the blue letters kind of acting up. Yeah, so Romans 9:20. I'm going to read the 24 to 26, all right? And it says, even us whom he have called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles, right? As he saith also in Hosea, which is Hosea, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. Verse 26, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called children of the living power. All right. And again, that's speaking of the Israelite foreigners. But when you get this word Gentile right there, there it goes. Strong's H 1484. It's ethnos, and it's really going to a tribe, nation, people, group. All right. But right there in that verse, he was speaking about Israel. Okay. And then I believe even if you get that word children, let's see. See, generally used of the offspring of men. And whose offspring was that? It wasn't just the regular nation's offspring. That's the offspring of Israel. See, the children of Israel right there. Boom. Sons of Abraham. All right. So, yeah. Now, the other word is going to be Helen. It's basically, let's see. Let's go to John 7:35, and these are precepts you can find when you go into the Septuagint. It's not that hard. All right. All right, here it goes. This is John 7:35. I'm going to read the KJV on the left-hand side, and then I'll read the NLT on the right. It says, Then said the Jews among themselves, Whither will he go, that he will not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? All right. Now, read this in the NLT. It says, the Jewish leaders were puzzled by this statement. Where is he planning to go? That he asked. Is he thinking of leaving the country and going to the Jews in the other lands, the diaspora? Maybe he will even teach the Greeks. But they were called Greeks because they were in a Greekish fashion. But we're going to get that. Okay. There it goes. Call Allah Yahweh Shem El Shai. All right. See? Strong's G 1672. Come on. Just bear with me for a second. This blue letter is kind of acting up right now. It's Satan. Hopefully it gets reloaded. And it's lucky, like I said, I'm out of town, so maybe it's a different service over here, but it's not quite cooperating. Anyways, I'll go ahead and read my notes to see if this if it pulls up. Not. All right, there it goes. Helen, you see it? Helene. It says Greek by nationality. Also, all nations not Jews, but that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. So the difference of religion and worship. So that's why I read that John 7:35 in the NLT. Let's see, it pulls up again. Again, these were Israelite foreigners that lost their ways, that they weren't called Jews, they were called Gentiles. Dang. All right, so let's go to the next word, okay? And that's Hellenistes, Strong's G 1675. And I want to go into the book of Acts. Since they say we were staying in the Old Testament too much, so let's go to the book of Acts 6:1. All right, but it says, and in those days, where the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians among the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration. All right, but you read that in the NLT, it says, but as the believers rapidly multiplied, there were rumblings of the discontent. The Greek-speaking believers, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me read that in the NIV. Salaki. So let's go to translation comparison. Dang. I might have to just pull this up on the internet. Let's see. All right. Okay, so the NIV, it says, in those days, this is Acts 6:1 again, in those days when the numbers of disciples was increasing, the Hellenistic Jews among them complained against the Hebraic Jews because their widows were being overlooked in the daily distribution of food. Okay, so listen, it can't get any more plain than that, okay? So let's go ahead and read that word, Gentiles here. Now, if it doesn't come up, I'll just go ahead and read it. So basically, Hellenistes is Strong's G 1675, and it's one who imitates the manners and customs of, or the worships of the Greeks, and use the Greek tongue. Okay, and I just showed you that. Now, let's go to James 1:1. It says, James, a servant of Yahweh and the Lord Yahushai Hamashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. All right, and if I read that in the NLT, anyways. Damn. All right, so this thing is acting up. There it goes. So James 1:1 says, this letter is from James, a slave of Yahweh and of the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. It says, I am writing to the 12 tribes who are, he says here it says Jewish, but really it's Israelite believers scattered abroad, greetings. Okay. Let's go to 1 Peter's 1:1. Because the next thing this guy's gonna say, oh well, it's the mixed multitude. Well, we got something for that too. We haven't heard. It's not like we haven't heard these these Christian breakdowns. Okay, they're just trying to take something, usurp a blessing that was given unto one nation and make it for everybody. That's called supersessionism. If you're gonna be honest with yourself, Dwayne. All right, so this is 1 Peter's 1:1. It says, Peter, an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. All right, that word strangers Let's see. See, look, it also says pilgrim too, because you had people who, were not considered Jews, but they were still taking pilgrimage too. Okay. Let's see. All right. But I'll go ahead and do another lesson on the strangers and the mixed multitude as well. But that'll be for another time. Now going into, let's see, 1 Corinthians 12:2. And it says, this is the use of spiritual gifts. Verse 2, it says, ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto dumb idols, even as ye were led. Okay? And so they're just kind of taking out over 400 plus years of history again from the Apocrypha. They go from the Old Testament to the Romans somehow. They don't even touch on the Greeks. All right? That's not canonical for them. So basically, I want to go to the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6. All right, verses 7-9, and this goes again with the James 1:1, to the scattered. Okay, it says, and in the day of the king's birth, which I believe here was Ptolemy, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, it says the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. And again, they're saying Jews because this is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that was left over in the southern kingdom, because that's who was affected by the Greeks. Remember, the northern kingdom was already carried away off to these lands over here by the Assyrians. Verse 8, moreover, there went out a decree, right, to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. Okay, and you can also find this account in the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, 41-50. All right, and then also in Daniel's 8, talks about that he-goat, that's Alexander, the Greeks. Okay, and then the next question was, hopefully I expounded upon who the Gentiles are. There's a lot more, but for edification, on time's sake, we're going to stop it there. But then it says, who is the law for? Okay, so let's go to Psalms. Back to blue letter. For 147. Tell you what, we're going to go off of this app right here because blue letter is messing up. Psalms 147, 19-20. And it reads, he showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgment, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. Okay, Psalms 148. Next, verses 13-14. Let them praise the name of the Lord Yahweh, for his name alone is excellent. All right, not God, not Jebus. Okay, The letter J didn't exist until 1524 anyway. All right, that's Serapis Christos that you guys are worshiping. It says, his glory is above the earth and heaven. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of his saints, of all his saints, even of the children of Israel. A people near unto him, praise ye the Lord. So the saints are not everybody. That's just pertaining to Israel. All right. And a saint is attested by the late 13th century as moral or virtuous person, one who is pure or upright heart of life. All right. Let's go to Psalms 50 and 5. It says, gather my saints together unto me, those who that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Who was that, Dwayne? Was that the mixed multitude? You know, come on. This was his people, all right, that the Most High Yahweh had chosen. All right. Now, and salvation is only for Israel. Let's go to Isaiah 46. And 13. It says, I bring my righteousness, it shall not be far off, and for my salvation shall not tarry, and I will place salvation in Zion for Israel, my glory. Okay, John 4. Since we're going to go to the New Testament too, because we got to hit both of them because they start complaining. All right, John 4, 21 to 22. Yahweh Shai said unto her, and this is the woman at the well, by the way, who's not an Israelite. Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Ye worship, ye know not what ye worship, for salvation is of the Jews. He cut her, okay? He's telling her, all right? And if you get that in the NLT, man, I hope this blue letter works. It says, Yahweh Shai replied, believe me, dear woman, the time is coming when it will no longer matter whether you worship the Father on this mountain or in Jerusalem. You Samaritans know very little about the one who you worship, while we Jews know all about him, for salvation comes through the Jews. Okay? And you can actually get that count in 2 Kings 17 to 24 on down. All right? And that's King Shalmaneser, the Assyrian king. Okay? That's what that's going into, because they placed people in those lands from other nations that had nothing to do with Jerusalem, with our people. Okay, so that's the history on that. And let's go to again. And I did a couple lessons back about if the Lord is dealing with all nations, then Christians have to answer Deuteronomy 32, 8 to 10. Okay. It says, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritances, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. Okay? Yes, the other nations were given inheritances, but they weren't given the promise. Only one promise. All right? For the Lord's portion, all right, is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land and in the waste, howling wilderness. He led him about and instructed him, and he kept him as the apple of his eye. Again, if the Lord is dealing with all nations, you got to answer this. Anyways, I pray this lesson was edifying. Shalom. On to the next.